How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another Far Cry 5 video, or my first Far Cry 5 video. And today I want to talk about the multiplayer. I know that Ubisoft hasn't announced it very much, and recently I've actually been playing Far Cry 5 multiplayer just a little bit, just to see what it was like, kind of get back into the swing of things, seeing how the new game is coming out in February, so I want to be ready for that. Playing this multiplayer reminded me of how boring it was. Not that it was bad, it was just boring. It's one of those move around slowly, stay in cover, look for the bad guys, scan the entire screen and the entire space, and find the bad guy and then shoot him. It's not like a Call of Duty, it's not like a Battlefield. It was its own thing. It was pretty good for what it was. It just didn't have a long-lasting appeal. Nothing about it made you want to sit there and play that multiplayer on and on and on and on and on. The experience itself was very limited. There was nothing much to do after you played your first few rounds or your first few matches. You kind of got the hang of things if you were paying attention. And once you figured it out, that's all you did was just go around killing the Sashka, whatever the name was, and the Golden Path. It was pretty cool that it was asymmetric, that it wasn't like a level playing field. Some guys had magic and bow and arrows. Also, they had animal kill streaks. Some other guys had a gun and regular kill streaks. It wasn't even, of course. I felt like the guys with the guns had an advantage if they knew what they were doing. But the bow and arrow was pretty neat, especially the fact that it was silent, so whenever you shot somebody, the bad guys would know immediately where you were. It was a pretty neat system, but like I stated earlier, it was very limited in scope and how addicting it was. Some people might find the word addicting to be very negative. I'm using this in a positive term. When I play multiplayer games, especially games that I like, I want to keep playing them until the new one comes out, or at least I want the game to have a lasting impression on me. This was not the case with Far Cry 4. And now if we talk about Far Cry 3, it was a whole different story. The gameplay was actually pretty good, not as smooth as Far Cry 4's. But the mechanics were there. The shell of what the game could be was there. Of course, people didn't like the fact that it was very similar to Call of Duty. I, for one, didn't mind it. Of course, I felt that Far Cry 2's multiplayer was better, but we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. But Far Cry 3 had the progression system. It had the leveling up. It had the guns, the attachments, the tattoos. It had the kill streaks, the chance. It pretty much had a lot of things going for it. I felt like if Ubisoft just gave it more time and give it more love like they did with Rainbow Six Siege, I think that Far Cry 3's multiplayer could have gone a long way, and it could have been one of the best multiplayer games out there, especially once you incorporate that map editor that I actually spent a lot of time playing with and messing around, making my own custom maps and recreating maps that I love. In my opinion, Far Cry 3 had the best multiplayer. As far as gameplay and just everything together was really good. It was buggy, it was laggy, and it had some issues that Ubisoft needed to address. They never did, and I think that's a mistake on their part. They might address that in the future with any new games. But now let's talk about Far Cry 2. This one was very basic in nature as far as the guns and your classes go. When you create your own class and you select a rifle and everything. It was very basic in nature, but it worked. Especially the lobby system. That was the best part about it. I didn't talk about this in Far Cry 3 too much, but the lobby system was kind of broken, especially when it came to playing custom maps. So we all know that they were all different. No Far Cry game had the same multiplayer as the previous one. So like I was saying earlier, I think that's a mistake from Ubisoft. They should probably stick to one thing and try to improve it. They did that with Rainbow Six Siege, and that game came out to be amazing. Especially as time goes on, the game's that game gets better and better and better. So what are my hopes? What are my wishes about Far Cry 5? Well, first of all, I haven't heard any announcements that there will be multiplayer, like your typical PvP action. I'm sure that they will add something to it. They always have. Wouldn't surprise me if they didn't, however. Just seeing how things have been going with these guys, they want to stick more towards the co-op and single-player part of the Far Cry games. It wouldn't surprise me if they don't make any multiplayer, but if they do, it will be to keep the gameplay similar to Far Cry 3 and 2. Maybe keep the player count down to 6. And I'm not sure how vehicles are going to work into that, but if you can't add vehicles and have the gameplay be fun, then take the vehicles out. You can add vehicles, you might have to make larger maps, maybe give the players a little bit more room to work with, and then add a few vehicles here and there. You might also have to up the player count, so you have to find a good middle ground between that. Another good idea would be to lower the player count. I don't know if you guys seen Destiny 2 has a not much lower, but it has a lower player count than what Destiny 1 did in PvP mode. If you did that, not only do you give your map creators, if there is a map editor for multiplayer, more performance to work with as far as what the map will look like, but it will keep the gameplay tight. And by that I mean that you don't have to worry about running around here and there to find an enemy to kill. You're gonna find a guy, you're gonna kill him. It's gonna make things go by fast, and that's what people want nowadays. Believe it or not, you know, I know there's some games out there like PUBG and Battlefield that have the longer gameplay style, but some people and a lot of people actually just want to get in there and kill somebody. You know, they want to have that back and forth, fast-paced action. And then the one thing they must do is have a ranked and unranked lobby, and allow players to host their own lobbies with custom maps. If they're going to incorporate custom maps, go ahead and do it the right way. If you make a mistake, fix it. There should be a way for you to host your own lobby with your own custom maps, that players rate them. But also, I think Ubisoft should have a team that will go around looking at the top rated maps and, you know, decide whether or not these maps should be moved over to the ranked playlist. How neat would it be that the game lives on for much longer if for 1 or 2 years down the line while the game is being played, because you know that's when games get played the most, is the first 2 years. While the game is being played, if they went ahead and once a week or whatever the time frame might be, they went through all the custom maps that have the top rank, you know, the top rank, the most voted, in good votes, and they look at them. And I'm sure that they have data like heat maps to see where people are getting shot at, if the map is balanced, if one spawn is getting screwed or not. I'm sure they can look at that data. Somehow they have that information to see who's dying where and what, from who and from what, and get those maps incorporated into the ranked lobby or the lobby where you can gain XP, or actually be on the leaderboard. I, for one, know that Ubisoft has the ability to make a juggernaut multiplayer experience. I mean, look at Rainbow Six Siege. I know I keep going back to it, but that game is amazing, and it didn't start off too strong. I know that when I first played that game, I thought it was horrible trash. I didn't want to touch it ever again. When I came back to it, it was pretty good. I was actually impressed. I enjoyed my time playing that game, and I think that if Ubisoft just took their time, showed the game some love, and then did it the right way, you can have a huge juggernaut that will have people playing for years to come. I mean, think about it. If you can play a game where you know that every few weeks you're going to get a new map or a few new maps added to the rotation, are pretty good because they actually looked at it and refined it and approved it to be in the ranked playlist. You know how many people are going to keep playing the game because they know that as they keep playing the game and the game goes on its lifespan, new maps will be added to the game. That will be amazing. And I know that part of the map editor stuff, but it's also been a part of Far Cry for a while, so that should also be included in this conversation. But overall, I mean, get solid gameplay, a good lobby system with map editor integration, you will have a juggernaut. You will have a good game that people will play for years to come. If people still play Far Cry 3 and the lobby system was corrected, I would still be playing this game today. And that's it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, share it. You have a wonderful day. Thank you.